Hey, what's up everyone? So a popular video that you guys really like that I've gotten a lot of good feedback on was how to get sharp group photos, and I wanted to kind of extend on that. I never really explained how I pose or go further into that. So let's jump into that, especially when you have a group of 20 or more people. How do you pose them? What's the process? Here are some of the tips that I just did recently at a recent shoot with a family with 27 people. So here's some tips to help you pose large groups. So as you'll see here, the fundamentals that I use in the sharp photos, getting sharp photos video, it's basically the same here, but it's more because it's a wider frame and, you know, it was a little further back than I did with that one family on the inside. But this family was great, took direction well, and we just kind of had to shift some things around, but I'll tell you, you know, we'll jump into that. So I was using an F9, so basically I can get everyone in focus. As you see, it was a very, very bright and sunny day. Might have to go and do some slight color adjustments, but, you know, this still look that they wanted, that we were going for. Didn't really edit this a ton. I just did something really quick to show you something. So I chose one of the fun shots, one of the ones we were just kind of messing around towards the end, because those are always lighthearted and families love those. So don't forget to do those. And the kids especially, they love it. This is their time where they're like, oh, this isn't just a boring photo. So do those photos as well. But how do you start? As you see, there is a lot of families here. There's a lot of people. I mean, it was one family. I think there were two separate families that were at this barbecue over Memorial Day. So where do you start? I mean, what do you do? How do you kind of get them organized in a cohesive group? So what I do is I size them up, obviously, and it really is obvious. Taller people, they stand more in the back. Look where the taller people are. They're right here. They're in the back. And that's how you kind of start off. But one thing I like to do, and so it's not like where I'm sitting there thinking like, geez, how the hell am I going to pose almost 30 people? I tell everyone to get kind of in their family units, because, you know, there's the mom and dad, the aunt and the uncle with their kids on, you know, on this side right here. And, you know, example right here, them with their kids and all that kind of stuff. So that way I know who's together. I know who to put right next to each other. But usually these group photos, and they're very, very popular, are about the grandfather and the grandmom, that they want something. And typically, we had to modify this because it was the request. Typically, you start with them in the middle. So they would be right here. So they would be the center of attention. But as I said, this was kind of the request. Put them in the middle, and then you build around them. So it's usually 2 or 3 layers. The one layer in the front, as you kind of see, I have a little bit of layers here. There wasn't, if we had a couple more people, we could fill in. So we could even do this, you know, further. Usually in front would be more or less the young kids, you know, and anyone who is kind of shorter in stature as well. They would fill in the front here, because you said right here is where the center of attention is. And if you don't know, I'm actually up on a step stool right now, because if I was really on their level, all of them would be blocked. I mean, right here, this was just a funny thing that she was doing, but this is how you get their heads up. This is how you can separate, so you can see everybody in the frame. So as I said, one of my most important videos, one of my most, you know, funny videos is most popular prop, that's a step stool. So then I build around them. So I'll get usually the kids that come in, you know, the shorter kids that come in and stand on the sides, and build out around there. I'll take the taller families, and especially the larger, the taller guys, especially, I put them in the back, and you kind of build this, what's a good word for it? This arc that kind of goes around a little bit. As you kind of see, it does bend a little bit. For the more formal shots that I didn't even have a chance to pull up yet, you know, you kind of bends. You want to give it some symmetry. You want to give it a little bit of shape. Popular ones for shorter, like smaller families, are like triangles or anything with like a peak, something coming down. But I like to kind of use an arc, just my style. So, and then you just really fill in from there, and you want to fill in gaps. As I said, if there was another person, you know, he really wanted to stay there, I would have them fill in here. But this is great because that's part of the family. But it's all about filling in gaps. You see, there really isn't many gaps that are open, and that's just something you need to look for. So as I said, it is really personal judgment on who you want to put where. But as you see, it really does kind of go in order of height. And that's how it is. You know, he was tall enough to be in between here, filled in the gap perfectly. You know, he was very tall, so he stood in the back. Same thing. He was really tall, so even up on my step stool, he really, really stood out. And then the people that you're not quite sure what to do with, you kind of fill in the gaps like right here, you know, in between sizes or something. And that works really, really well. And if there's a kid, perfect. Boom. That helps fill up a gap as well. So it's about filling up the gaps, using the heights, and filling in the small spaces like right here. You know, what would you do? Use someone who is just in between what you need, or create another row if you want. So these are just some of the tips that I have, especially filling the gaps, and just it is personal judgment, but give it some shape. A lot of people just put people out there, stand on the ground, and it's just like, okay, let's shoot. Well, they can't see your lens, and that's one thing I always recommend too, is saying, hey, if you could see my lens, if you could see me, I can see you, and that's the truth. And I always have everyone confirm that, and then we have some fun. We do the formal shots, then we do the fun shots. But that's really how you pose. It can be very, very intimidating. You have to size everyone up, so you know who's the height, who's everything. As I said, you can waste time, just like if you're doing regular shoots in the studio and you're just testing lighting. You don't want to say you don't know what you're doing yet, but say, hey, everyone, get together in your groups, and we'll go from there, and then just start filling in. The easiest thing to do is get the first two. It's usually the grandmom, the grandpop who really want this photo. Move them more central, or if they request to go on the side, you can build around them like I did. But yeah, you start there and then build around, form maybe like an arc, or just give it a little bit of symmetry, and you can have some fun here. Leave some room, so that way you can crop. They wanted something tighter. As you see, there was a residential area. There was a golf course on this side, so there was a lot of people over there, so we couldn't use that. But this is how you do it. It can be very intimidating, but don't let it intimidate you. If you guys have any questions or comments, please write that down below. You can use this with 20, 50, to a ton of people. You just need a wide angle lens. As I was using my 24-70 at 24 millimeters, because that works best for these type of photos, especially the environment you were in. You don't want to show a ton, but that's how it works, and you work with what you have. So once again, thank you for watching. Hopefully this video helped you out. And once again, do not be intimidated. Eric Rossi, the guy with the eye. Keep an eye out.